Hello, hello. Hi.
Hi,
Who's in there
everybody.
today? We got some nice folks watching us today. I hope we want you to know today we've got the second half of the Home Remedies show that Mary Mount did last week. So this is part two, and we're here on the Daily Reset for Success show. I'm Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe, and my co-host today is Mary Mount again. Say hi, Mary.
Hi, how's everybody today? Well, I've got a lot in store for us today,
Oh, I can't hardly wait to start.
but
Mary is so full of things to tell us. Her life experience. Us old boomers, we've been there. We've been through a lot of stuff, so we have a lot of stuff to share.
yes, we
So
do. Yes, we do. And
I'm
we
going to
try
turn
not
it
to
to
share the bad stuff, just the good stuff.
just
Just
the
the
good
good stuff,
stuff.
not the bad stuff.
Well, I'll just turn it over to you, Mary, and you can get us started on these home remedies.
Well, first of all, I want to make a statement. I am not a physician. I am not a physician's assistant or in any way connected to the medical industry. And these are things that I have experienced with. I've experimented with them. Some of them worked and some of them didn't, and the ones that didn't, I'm not going to talk about. So,
Perfect.
if you have any questions, be sure and go, ask your doctor what he thinks, especially when it comes to medications. Because the very first thing on my list today, so I won't forget it, is medicine interactions.
Uh-huh.
There's two that's notorious for heart disease. One of them is Coumadin, not Coumadin, cumin, cumin,
Coumadin.
cumin. I give
Yeah.
that stuff that begins with a C, and Teramic. Especially if you're taking any kind of blood thinners, you
Oh,
need to be, or you're under the care of a heart doctor, you need to be sure and check with him before you add any new supplements or any vitamins or anything else.
well,
Okay?
also, aspirin, baby aspirin is a blood thinner. So if
Yes, it
you've
is.
got a little heart condition and you're on a baby aspirin like I am, then you have to stay off of some of these things. So just know that baby aspirin is a blood thinner.
Yes, it is. Speaking of blood thinners, I have to tell you a little bit of background about why I've gotten so interested and spent 30 years trying to understand natural healing. It's because my mother was had surgery du jour. It's like every month or every 3 months it was a new surgery. Oh, this hurts. Let's fix it. Operate on it. And of course, the doctors were just happy to do so. Meanwhile, I'm having to take care of her all the time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. She's gone, and I love her and miss her. All right, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects. Almost 20 years ago, I was standing, well, it was, gosh, been longer than that now. It's in 1980. I was in a convenience store, and this lady had her teenage son with me, and I had one of those horrible, horrible uh, cold sores. And this woman looked at me and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I don't mean to be rude, but is that a fever blister?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, it is." And she said, "Well, this is what you do for a fever blister." She said, "You go to the store and you buy you a bunch of this stuff called lysine. Lysine is an amino acid and is necessary for your body to function properly. It also stops fever blisters." What I've always done when I had one, when I used to have them, I don't have them anymore, but back when I used to have them, I would take
Mary,
four.
Mary, Mary, can you bring your microphone a little closer?
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. When I'd take four at a time, and the next day I'd take four more. And I could always tell when I've had all I need is I'd get a little bitty stint of diarrhea. So they're great for cold sores. And also another thing that's great for cold sores is copper chelate. Now it's real hard to find right now. See, I can't get you. Anyway, it's chelated copper. Chelated means that the body absorbs it quicker. That's all it means. And that will definitely help with cold sores. As a matter of fact, I read an article on it just a couple of days ago, and I think it was from the American Medical Association. I meant to look back and double check my notes, but I didn't. But it said that it would actually eliminate the herpesvirus. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it's certainly worth a try.
Mary, do you have another microphone on your desk?
I do.
Oh, that's much better.
All right. Well, let me just put, I got my book here, so
Thank
there we go. Now,
my,
speaking of diarrhea, I try to bring one subject into another. Um, Diarrhea, one of the best things for diarrhea is you get, I know that there's some diabetic drugs that causes you to have diarrhea. But the one thing I have learned above all when it comes to diabetics, because I took care of one for several years, get you some apples, core them, put them in little slices, throw them in the frying pan with some coconut oil, cover them with cinnamon, or put a bunch of cinnamon in there. And when those apples get done, then that's your dessert, and that'll stop your diarrhea.
no, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes. Got that from Dr. Oz show many years ago.
So, how many apples? One or two, depending on the size?
Just enough for a little, a little,
Little meal, huh?
yeah, a little dessert.
A serving.
A little dessert serving is all it needs. It doesn't take a whole lot. And if you do that every day, you don't ever have diarrhea.
Uh-oh, that's terrific.
Yes, there was a urologist who was on Dr. Oz show. And since I'd had that problem, I paid attention to that one. She also had something to say about constipation, and it had something to do with vinegar. I don't know, but you might look it up and see if you can find all the stuff for it. But it's great.
Wow.
Okay. Dandruff. One of the one of the things you can do with dandruff is put honey all over your hair. You'll taste good, but it gets rid of the dandruff. But so does apple cider vinegar.
Okay, so just like massage it in and leave it for a few minutes and then shampoo it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
just leave the apple cider, either one of them in for a few minutes and then shampoo them out. I think the apple cider vinegar would be easier to get out of your hair, though.
Oh, yeah.
But, if you don't have one or the other, well, use the other.
Not
Okay.
not the white vinegar, but the apple cider.
Apple cider vinegar. I don't use anything but apple cider vinegar for anything.
One of the best brands, I'm going to, say a brand name here, is Bragg's apple cider vinegar. And you can find it in most grocery stores or online, and Amazon has it. But it's got the mother in it, that little filmy looking stuff at the bottom. That's the best vinegar you can buy.
Yeah. That the fella Paul Bragg, the one that invented that. Some of you may remember this, some of you may not. But remember the guy kicking sand in the skinny guy's face on the beach that we used to find on the back of comic books?
Yeah.
That was Jack LaLanne. Guess who Jack LaLanne's trainer was? Paul Bragg.
I can believe it.
Yeah. So it goes back many, many years. Paul Bragg was a real innovator when it came to natural healing, by the way. His daughter now runs the company.
Doesn't he have several books out? I think
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
Go look him up on Amazon in the book department and see what you
Yeah.
can find. Bragg.
Yes. All right. Moving on. Bites and stings.
Ooh.
I got a bite sting on my forearm several years ago, and it swelled up like a stuck hog. And I just knew had become allergic to bee stings, and it really concerned me, especially when I got one right up here on my shoulder, so close to my brain, what little I have. and was very concerned about it. So concerned, I'd been out mowing. And so I came in the house, took a quick bath, combed my hair, and went and got my granddaughter. And she says, "Well, Grandma, I'll help you." So we put soda. I took a little bit of baking soda, put it in the palm of my hand and a little bit of water. And I put it on that bite, and she put a Band-Aid over the top of it. And within 15 minutes, that bite didn't hurt anymore, and the swelling was gone.
Yeah, it'll work every time. Just make a thick paste, enough
Yeah.
so it's moist, and it'll uh, penetrate the little bite.
Another thing you can use is, where is it? I know I saw it. Where is it? Onions,
Onions,
raw onions. Um,
like sliced onions, or
like a sliced onion.
huh? That's
What you do is you grate it and you make it like a poultice, and
oh,
put it on there, and it will make it go away.
nature is wonderful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Oh my
is.
gosh, I didn't know. I never heard of that one.
Yeah.
I know onions are great for attracting bacteria. And I may be talking totally out of school, but I read someplace that when people get sick from eating potato salad, so to speak, they always blamed it on the mayonnaise going bad. But it
Hmm.
was actually the onions.
Really?
Yeah, because they attract bacteria. If you leave a slice of onion, in fact, they used to do this back in the old days, they'd slice an onion and put it on a plate or a saucer and put it back next to the bedside of a sick person. And they would turn black. They would absorb the bacteria in the room.
I'll have to try that. That's amazing. Thank you, Louise.
I read that, but don't, yeah, I just read it. So I kind of believe it.
Well, it makes sense if it attracts bacteria.
Yeah. So
That sounds like an Edgar Casey
may
remedy.
have been. Yeah.
Ant bites. The best thing for ant bites is hot water. Just hot
Oh,
water.
like
And
you're talking about fire ants in particular?
fire ants in particular. Those little crazy ants too. I mean, any ant bite.
Any ant bite.
Those crazy ants are crazy.
Oh, they really are. I've read stuff about them. It's scary.
I went out yesterday and treated a whole bunch of mounds in my yard. Do you know that the red ant in Texas has been responsible for I don't know how many different extinctions in our small animals? Like they eat the quail eggs, so the quail aren't as good. They go in and they attack babies in just about anything that's on the ground. Even in the trees, they'll go and attack them.
Oh, my.
Horny toad, those beetles that used to run, they used to call them dung beetles that roll dung. I saw one the other day. It's the first one I've seen in years and years. But anyway, our friendly fire ants are responsible for that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, what else? Oh, this is a really strange one. Bleeding. My mother took blood thinner and she got a scratch, just a little scratch on her shin bone. And we could not put anything on it that would make it stop. And finally I said, well, let's put some black pepper on it because I had heard that worked. I mean, worked like a charm. It wasn't 2 minutes later that it started coagulating again.
Really?
See, black pepper does not melt. I don't know if you realize that or not. You
Now,
can also go ahead,
you're talking about ground black pepper.
ground black pepper.
Comes in the little cans.
Right, the stuff everybody's got in their cabinets.
Yeah.
You can also put it in your radiator if you have a little bitty pin hole in your radiator of your
Really?
car. Yeah, it'll stop it up.
I'll be darned.
All kinds of weird stuff. All right. One of my favorite subjects, as Louise will attest to, is raised toilets. These handicapped toilets that so many of us have causes UTIs, urinary tract infections, if you're not careful. because I know I can sit on my toilet and do my business. And if I lean forward and put my forearm on my stomach and lean forward, I get as much more out of it as I had to begin with. So, and that's what causes a UTI. My mother had them for, when I say almost constantly, I am not exaggerating. I cannot remember a time in the last 2 years of her life that she didn't have one. She
Oh,
quit having them as soon as she moved into that nursing home that had regular sized toilets.
hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so if you're prone to UTIs, then you want to have, if someone's taking care of you or you're a caretaker, you want to be sure and smell it, and when it gets the least bit pungent, then that's when you need to pay attention to what they're doing on that handicapped toilet.
Yeah. Or you could put a little footstool under your feet, couldn't you?
Yes, you can.
And raise the position of your legs so that you're in a more crouched position versus
Yes,
sitting straight like you would in a chair.
good
Yeah.
advice, very good advice.
And UTI is urinary tract infection, just in case.
Yeah. And if you feel like you've been exposed to something like the flu or a cold or something, one of the best things you can do to begin with is gargle with hydrogen peroxide.
Gargle only.
Just gargle with it. It's not like the dogs. You give the dogs hydrogen peroxide to make them throw up. But we gargle with it because it kills the viruses that go in, because it's H2O, which means it's oxygen and hydrogen. Or it's got two. Anyway, I won't get into that.
So just gargle and then spit it out.
Yeah, just gargle and spit it out. Now, let's see what else I have here. Oh, some of my very favorite things. Okay, let's start with. Let's see if I can get this going into. There we go. Tea tree oil.
Oh, good.
I had I hit my finger with a hammer, my little finger, and when I did, it bruised on the inside and kind of came off a little bit. And next thing I know is I have a fungus under that fingernail. I'm
Oh,
thinking, and it's like in the center of my fingernail. So I started using Vicks. I'm a big proponent of Vicks. I'll get to that in a minute. And it didn't do a whole lot of good, or at least it didn't do as much good as I wanted it to do, as fast as I wanted it to. So I went to the doctor, and not for that, for something else. And the nurse said, try tea tree oil. I said, okay. So I took a piece of cotton, put tea tree oil on it, then put a Band-Aid on it. I poured it like underneath my fingernail where it would get to the fungus, and put a Band-Aid on it and left it overnight, and the next day it was gone.
wow.
Not the nail, the fungus.
I've had splinters down inside my fingernails, but I've never had a fungus. That's no fun because you can't
No.
get to it.
Right, and a lot of people get them on their toes because their feet sweat, especially in the summertime. So another thing, while I'm thinking about it, I don't have it on my list, but I just happen to think about it. If you have gout, if your big toes especially start to hurt, go down to the store and get you some cherries or cherry juice, sweet cherries, and that'll do it. Or bean cherries, it doesn't matter. But they'll take care of the gout for you.
Okay, Mary, you're puffing into your microphone. Maybe back just a touch.
Okay,
Okay. This is
now comes my very, very 100% all-time favorite. And that is my Vicks Vapor Rub.
I love it.
Y'all all know what Vicks is. Okay, Vicks is used for me, it's literally dozens of different things. I put it in my nose to clear my nose before I put on my CPAP at night. If I have COPD, so when you have that, you get a lot of bronchial infections. So what I learned to do was to start Vicks right here at my chin and go all the way down rubbing all over my chest and having someone else put Vicks on the back. And then I put a heating pad on my chest. And that helps clear the bronchial infection in your lungs, or clears up your lungs and allows you to breathe better. If you get a paper cut, put Vicks on it. In a matter of an hour or so, that cut doesn't hurt anymore.
Wow.
Got a cold and your nose is all red and sore and you can't hardly touch it? Get you a good stiff drink of alcohol, and then you put this Vicks all over your nose because it's gonna burn. But as soon as it stops burning, it will stop hurting.
Yeah, it'll start healing.
And it'll start healing. You're right, Louise.
When I was a kid, my mother used to make us eat Vicks.
Oh no.
Swallow a little bite of it, if our throat was extremely raw. And we lived on a farm. We were all always outside. So when we got a bad cold, it was bad. And we would swallow it. And back then, it was okay. But they've got too much other stuff in them now, so I don't recommend that. But breathing it right now will do the same thing that will soothe the inside of your throat and your sinuses.
And what I do when I've got a bad cough is I'll open up this jar and go and breathe it into my lungs, and it really helps.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah.
But Vicks is my favorite. And now for my beauty secret of the day. Let's see if I can get this where you can read it. It's made by Pure Valley, and it's pure vitamin D cream. And I'm gonna try to do a demonstration. So give me a minute.
All right. That's like the winner. And it's a little pump bottle that she's holding. And she's...
Let's see. I've got... Wait a minute. Let's see if I can get it over here. I've got some crepe skin right here.
Okay, we're losing
See how loose it is?
We don't hear you as well, Mary.
Well, I have some crepe on my skin. You know,
Oh,
that kind that makes it
yeah.
yucky.
Crepey.
Right. I just put some on that area that was crepey.
And it really... Vitamin D cream. Now, where
Vitamin D cream. I don't see... I can run my hand up it again, and it doesn't crease like it did before. It's nice and smooth.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep.
you get this from a company called Pure Valley Vitamin D Cream, and they send you 2 of these little bottles for, I don't know, $7 or $8, maybe even 10. But
Wow.
they're wonderful.
2 of them for about $10?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I gave them for Christmas gifts to a lot of my friends this year.
Now, have they got a website? Is that
Yes, they do. Just ordered on the internet.
Say it again.
Pure Valley.
PUREVALLEY.
Vitamin D cream.
Vitamin D
It
cream.
says it smooths, moisturizes, and enriches your skin. And it
Wow.
does it so good and cheaply.
Very good. I like that because I'm starting to get crepey, and I don't want to be crepey.
Well, I ordered some of that crepe stuff that's like $300 a jar or something like that.
And
And this works better. This works a whole lot better.
great. Well, that is interesting.
Does anybody have any questions at this point?
I don't know. I haven't seen any questions popping up. So Marion LaSalle, our technical genius, is working behind the scenes for us. So she would have popped up questions.
She doesn't have any, she
Didn't
says.
have any today, but that's all right because this will be on a replay and everybody can go back and watch it on YouTube.
Oh, I know what else I forgot to mention.
Oh, what?
Some of these silly things like leg cramps,
Oh, yeah.
hand cramps. Can we say plain old soap?
Soap?
If you get a cramp in your hand, just grab a bar of soap and it's gone instantly.
Any soap?
Any soap. Any
Ah.
soap. Bar soap.
Bar soap.
Same
Well, I know-
thing with your legs. If you get what I do is because I get them pretty often, and it's usually a good indication of a low mineral that you're not getting. You're needing
Oh,
some minerals,
uh-huh.
and it's usually magnesium.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can put. I used to put. I don't have them much anymore, but I used to put a bar of soap underneath my my bottom sheet in my bed, and I didn't. It kept me from getting them.
Huh.
And
And
then I got smarter, and I started putting. Walmart has this little delicatessen area thing, little deli thing, and they have these little bitty packages of mustard. And so every time I go to Walmart, I'll get 4 or 5 of those and put them in my nightstand beside my bed. And as soon as I get a cramp, which I haven't had in quite a while, I just pop one of those in my mouth and it goes away within literally seconds.
so ingesting the mustard.
Ingesting the mustard, that or a pickle, it's caused by vinegar. Vinegar has a lot of magnesium in it,
Oh,
and that's the
never.
reason it works so well.
I like mustard, but I don't know squirting it in my mouth.
Well, it's better than one of those painful
Oh,
cramps.
you bet. Because I've had them, and I just end up screaming and having to jump out of bed to stand on my
Uh
foot.
huh.
That's the only way I can get rid of them.
Yeah, me too.
They do hurt. Wow, that is interesting. Very.
There's so many. I mean, it sounds stupid, but
I'm
it
sorry.
works.
It works. It
It
works.
works. They did. There was a scientist in Germany who came up with a technical reason that it works. And his reason for it working, I don't remember, but he came up with a technical chemical reason why it worked. There's something in the soap that causes the muscles to relax.
Nice. And you told me one day recently about a neat trick to run the deer off with Irish Springs.
Oh yes, yes, Irish Spring bar soap. You can't miss it, and it's real cheap at the dollar store. And you just what I do is I did it a couple of days ago, and I took 4 bars of soap, I think, and cut each one into 8 blocks, little bitty blocks about that big. And I took those around and I put them around every plant that those deer love.
Wow.
And it stops them from eating the plant. All they have to do is smell it. I
Uh,
still actually still had some on the ground in the flower beds from last year.
wow. And well, because I have that deer problem with my orchard, and we've tried everything. So I haven't tried that yet. I'll let you.
Okay.
I gotta
Well,
go
like I
out.
say, it's a cheap anti deer thing,
Yeah, I
and
like that for sure.
and we have lots of those.
I do too.
Well, Louise, thank you so much for having me on. I always enjoy
I do too.
timorizing with you.
I love hearing all your good things. And I thought of something just the other day that I thought I would add. It's,
Oh, good.
it's not a remedy necessarily, but it's a money saver. I did this test years ago, a test. I turned off everything in my house, unplugged the refrigerator, unplugged everything but a little clock on my nightstand. One teeny little electric clock. And then I went out to the meter and it was still going around with one little clock plugged in the whole house. So if you've got lamps or different appliances, hair dryers especially, unplug them. Don't leave anything plugged in that you're not using every day. In fact, you can unplug it every day if you need to. I never leave my blender plugged in. I use it, unplug it, use it, unplug it.
So what you're saying is that it's using electricity just by being plugged in.
Exactly. So if you're into money saving like I am and knowing our light bills are getting ready to go up with the summer heat, unplug all that the lamps, the gadgets, the this, the that, whatever you've got.
What a great
Un-
idea.
and you're going to save money just because that little dial's not going around so fast.
And
So
mine
that was
goes around fast.
mine too. But most of my lamps are unplugged unless I use them every day. And like I say, my hair dryer, I only plug it in when I'm using it, and I unplug it when I finish. And my hair rollers,
Well,
anything that I have in the bathroom is unplugged when I after I use it. So just to
well,
learn.
I know what I'm going to be doing for the next 30 minutes or so. I'm going to be running around unplugging things. Thank you so much, Louise.
You're welcome. You're
You are
welcome.
such a delight to work with. Thank you.
You too. We
And
appreciate
thank
all
y'all for
your
showing
wisdom.
up.
See you. Well, thank you again.
Love you too. Bye
Thank
bye.